Imagine being one of the strongest athletes in the world flying down icy tracks at nearly 100 miles an hour, only to wake up years later unable to find your way home, unable to sit up without sickness, and nearly ready to give up on life. That was the reality for William Person, a former 9-year Team USA bobsled athlete whose career left him battling symptoms consistent with CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, a degenerative brain disease that has taken the lives of countless athletes and veterans. At his lowest point, William could barely get up off the floor, his world dimmed to fog, pain, and despair. And yet, he found the strength to hold on, to live one more day at a time, until he discovered a path back to clarity, color, and hope. Today, William has turned his personal healing into a mission to protect athletes and veterans from invisible brain injuries, raise awareness of the hidden risks embedded in sports like bobsledding, and to create a non-profit recovery center so that others can reclaim their quality of life without the burden of the cost. In this conversation, we'll give you the facts on CTE. You'll hear William's extraordinary journey from Olympic-level triumph to near tragedy, and from despair to determination. You'll learn about the silent epidemic of brain injuries in both sports and the military, how microtraumas can alter the brain as profoundly as concussions, and why awareness and advocacy are essential to safeguarding long-term health. This episode is sure to be a powerful one. Don't go anywhere. Hi, William. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So great to have this conversation. It's a really, really important one.
Yeah.
The first thing that I want to do is to have you take us back to your days as a Team USA bobsled athlete. First of all, what drew you into that sport? It seems like one of those very niche kinds of things. And then tell me, what was it like to compete at that level?
The truth is, I was training at Brigham Young University at the time. I was just an athlete, just working out. And I was probably the fastest American in the state of Utah. And so this was around 98, 99. And we had the Salt Lake City Olympics coming. So NBC came in town and they were doing tryouts, live tryouts. And this was the last couple of years of my track career. My track career was about to end. And before that, I was doing track, and then I was doing you ever see the movie Jerry Maguire?
Of course, yes.
I'm the guy they put the equipment on and ran down the field looking to make all the actors look like athletes. So that's what I was doing for the movie. So I was doing the movies. I had my track career, which was about to end. And so somebody called me one day, and it was like, hey, NBC's doing these tryouts for bobsled for the 2002 Winter Olympics. And the first couple times they called me, I was like, I didn't commit to it, but I didn't say no. So they kept calling me, and then I said, well, you know what? Maybe I'll get a sponsor out of this in my last year of track. Maybe I'll pick a sponsor up. So
even having no experience at all, you can just go and try out for being on a bobsled team.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy. So what I did when I got to this place, maybe 100 athletes or something. And so I saw the first 30 athletes go through the testing process. So what they did, they took like this treadmill. Treadmill's normally like that.
Mm-hmm.
So then they put the elevation, they put it up here.
Mm.
And then they had these bobsled handles tied to the handles. So you got to hold your bobsled handles. Now, meanwhile, that thing is hooked up to a computer and they punch in 10 miles an hour. So the faster you run on this thing, the quicker it gets to 10 miles an hour, and they time it.
Oh.
So like I said, I'm a fish out of water. I'm just watching. So I watched the first 30 guys go through. So it's my turn. So when I went through it, like I said, NBC had the cameras on and hot lights. And so when I did it, when I finished, the bobsled driver, his eyes were like the size of baseballs, not even golf balls, baseballs. So I know I did really good or really bad, and I don't know which. I didn't know. So he puts his arm around me. Remember, the camera's on me, so I'm thinking, this guy's legitimate.
Okay.
He says, if I offer you $50,000 for the next 3 months, would you race on my team? And so at that point, I had opened the first ever independent living transitional housing program for youth. So the state of Utah opened me up as a pilot program. So I'm a business guy. So I gave him a business answer. I was like, if it's a fair price, sure. If not, we can renegotiate later. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking, $50,000 for the next 3 months? Sign me up.
Right out of college.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll take that money. Yeah. So that was on a Wednesday. We went to the bobsled track on a Sunday. I pushed the sled for the first time. And the ironic thing is, we're going to, like, every bobsled track is on a mountain, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on this truck, and they take us to the top of this mountain. As I step off, one of my collegiate teammates is there. His name is Billy. And Billy, he saw me. He's like, man, where you been? I've been trying to call you. Come race with our team. And then that bobsled driver, he's like, hey, buddy, don't leave me. I'll get you more money. So I'm getting $50,000 plus a bonus, what makes good money this year. And that's on top of my company money. So I'm like, yeah, I'm living. And so what I quickly find out is that guy tricked me. He didn't have the money. He didn't have any sponsors. Most of it, if you look at our bobsled, they're built by NASCAR. So they look like race cars. This guy's bobsled was shaped like a spaceship, had a bubble on it. It was not aerodynamic. And matter of fact, no matter how fast I pushed that guy, the girls beat us to the bottom of the hill too. So we weren't going to win anything together. But what happened is we figured that out. Another team picked me up. I won a medal. So between the audition to racing the America's Cup, 7 days later, I won a medal. And then NBC took that story and ran it. And I stuck around 9 more years. It was fun. It was different. And I love representing my country. And so I just stuck around and went for the ride.
Hit subscribe right now for more soulful stories and inspiring conversations with me and the Human Beauty Movement podcast. Okay, so back to the audition for a quick moment, because you apparently had not only your track prowess, but you must have been pretty darn strong, because it sounds like to push a sled up an incline at that kind of level versus other athletes that were also trying out. That is, I mean, are you a big guy? What are your stats?
Well, actually, the bobsled, it was just the handles on the treadmill. So the bobsled wasn't actually on that with us. But
okay, got it.
We do that kind of stuff too, though.
Oh, okay.
But I was a big guy. Well, no, actually, when I started the sport, I was probably 184 pounds.
Oh, okay.
But by the time I made the national team, I was 218-ish, something like that. I got to stick right around 220. That's kind of like my base weight.
Okay. So, I mean, but it took a lot of like energy and stamina, and your track performance certainly helped you to land a place on the U.S. Olympic bobsled team.
Only the track experience did it. It was not. I went from running on a rubber surface to running on ice. It was really rough.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then after that, what is the training like? How often are you on this bobsled? And I just want to understand what it is like just from a physical perspective and what you're experiencing from like a head perspective and any kinds of like microtraumas and brain injury that might have ensued.
When the season starts and we start going down that mountain, what I found out now is like every time I went down that track, like we were sometimes you crash, which you get the big concussions. But I think now, what I understand now, when you go down the track, you get the micro concussions every time you go down. So you're getting a concussion every time you went down that track. But I didn't know that. And so I went down that track between 1 to 6 times per day, sometimes 3 to 4, sometimes 5 days a week.
And so how does that happen? Is it because you're curving so much and your head is hitting the bobs? Like how does that happen in terms of like the micro traumas there?
Sometimes your head does hit the side on some of but like the way my shoulders are built, like I only have enough room to get in that sled and I'm wedged in. So my head's not moving like most people's. Like I'm pretty good about being able to keep it still. I was a bigger guy. I'm wedged in there pretty good. But if it's going down the track and you see a little ice wall and we touch it like that, like you go, it's almost equivalent to being punched in the kidney sometimes. Like sometimes we're going down that track and it's so violent, you just wish we could crash and get it out the way.
Really?
You get off that sled. Yeah. So it's what I learned now is the micro concussions. So those are the dangerous ones, I believe. So when I had a big concussion, like I can't do anything. I had to go lay down or go sit down somewhere. When you get the micro concussions, you get the same damage done, but your body's not telling you to shut it down. So you can just kind of keep doing what you're doing. And so if you don't let that brain rest on a concussion, you guess what? You're doing more damage. And I think that's where it's really getting us. But there's another piece of that puzzle. It's the G-forces.
Yeah.
G-forces. I think that's the nasty one that's really getting us.
Yeah, from a perspective of a spectator such as myself, and you're watching it on TV, a lot of times you don't realize how fast you're going. To your point about G-force, I mean, you're flying down these luges, as it were. And we also don't notice all of that jostling. It seems so fluid and it just seems so graceful as you're going down. And so unless you're having like a major crash, I don't think that people really think about the impact that can have on the body and the brain with the G-force, with all of the jostling around that does happen during training and then those live events.
Well, the sad part about it is when I was racing, we had these things we would do. We call it VIP rides. We call it forerunning. So we'll take VIP down the track on the bobsled. So one time we took the fighter pilot, F-15 fighter pilots, because they pull more Gs than bobsled. So we thought. So we pulled at 5 Gs, they told us. The pilots, they think they do between 10 and 20 G's, I heard. But they wore some kind of special pressure suit to keep them from blacking out. So now this is where it gets crazy. They came out. We took them down the track. I did 6 rides that day. I remember that.
Uh-huh.
They did one, but they were shook up when they got out of the sled. And I was thinking, like,
Ooh.
you took one ride. How could you be shook up? Like, I
Right.
couldn't understand that. However, last December, an article came out. It was written by somebody on New York Times. I think it's David something. But anyway, in that article, it stated all the fighter pilots have the same symptoms as the bobsledders, from the dementia, depression, suicides, Parkinson's. So their stuff lines up with us. Like, it's identical. It's just pretty sad just to see that. Yeah.
Wow. So then how long after you had stopped bobsledding, or maybe it happened while you were, did you start noticing like something isn't right? Because it sounds like you were like, oh, well, this fighter pilot, why is he feeling something? It seems like you were pretty lucid at that particular moment in time.
Yeah.
But then something along the line started to change. How long was it, and what were those symptoms?
Well, one of the first things I saw was one of my teammates. We were getting ready for a race. I don't remember where we were. It might have been in Europe, but he was looking out the corner of his eye, and then his eyes got stuck. It started. I didn't say nothing. I was just watching him. Like, that's weird. And then I asked him. I said, "What's wrong? You all right?" He's like, "I don't know." He said, "This keeps happening."
Oh.
And so there was little things that I saw, but I didn't see them on myself. Like the ones that I was dealing with. Like sometimes I would wake up in the middle of the night and I didn't know where I was at. I would panic. So I jump up and I run over. I hit the light switch. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm in Europe, or I'm in California, or I'm in the Olympic Training Center. Or, the pictures tell you where you are. Especially in Europe, they always have them creepy pictures on the wall. When you walk by, the eyes follow you.
All the portraits of the old folk.
Yeah.
But was that because you were training or you were around different places and you just didn't know where you were? Or do you feel like it was symptomatic? Okay.
Well, what I did say at that time, I rationalized it. I was like, you know what? I travel so blessed that I was like, I rationalize it. Like, I just don't know where I'm at because I'm traveling so much. But then it continued to happen. It was other stuff. Like, I hadn't seen my friends in a while, so I went back home and we met out at a little pub or something. And my buddy was looking at this lady. He said, "That's your girlfriend, ex-girlfriend over there." And I was looking, I looked at her, I was like, she's beautiful, but I don't know her. And she ran over and jumped in my arms and I caught her. And I was like, oh, yes, I do know her. But once again, as an athlete, you think, oh, I'm strong. All the ladies love me. You get this arrogance. It's like, but no, the truth was I was not recognizing people that I knew, familiar face. But I just rationalized. It was another one actually one of the craziest ones. When I first left the team, I moved to LA and people asked me, how old are you? I automatically said 28. 28. And I started doing the math like, wait a minute, I'm not 28. I was like, that's weird. And I started doing the math like, I said, I'm 38 or I'm 39 or I'm 40. Like,
forgot how old you were.
Yeah, I was stuck in a loop. There was a loop. And that loop, that loop is what got me because like every morning I woke up, I had a little daily planner next to the bed. I had to wake up. I would look to figure out if it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. To this day, I can't tell a Friday from a Sunday or Monday. It's all the same. It's like, that's weird. And so once I figure out the day, this is an everyday routine. I had to figure out what month we're in. I always thought it was January or August. It was them 2 months, no other months. But so I know every day I didn't know what day it was or what month it was. I already knew that. So I wake up every day, look at that thing. So I was putting little things in place, just trying to deal with the symptoms because I didn't know where it was.
And so it must have progressively started to get significantly worse and then until the point where it was really, really bad. And then I understand that some of your friends or other people that you knew had actually been suffering similarly and had actually decided to end their lives. Can you share whatever you wish to, or whatever you don't worry about it, but feel free to share whatever you want to about the experience that you had and what it was like.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. In the past, first, I wouldn't talk about some of this stuff because, I was embarrassed. Like, I get these symptoms, and so I didn't want people to see me the way I was. I didn't want people to understand I didn't want to know what I was dealing with. Like, I loved who I was, and I was embarrassed. And so, but my silence allowed more people to suffer. And so that's why whatever question you ask me, I'm going to answer that question. So if you want to give me that question again, I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that so very much. I was just wondering because I know that at first it must be just perplexing to not be able to remember dates or individuals. And then at some point it might have gotten a lot worse. And then you were like, okay, something is significantly wrong here. And also, friends around me are seemingly having the same problems. Can you describe what that was like?
Yeah, that was a rough part of my life. Like, first of all, most of the athletes after the sport, we just kind of all go our own ways.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're all suffering in silence, suffering in silence.
And how long, I'm sorry for interrupting, I'm just curious about the timeline. Like, how long was it until you started to notice like things weren't quite right? And then when things got significantly worse?
I would say when I noticed it, like when it got so bad that I couldn't cope anymore. There was a, like my first crash concussion was in 2002.
Mm.
2012 to 13 is the first checkpoint where things were
Mm.
getting out of control. Something that was
Like
really, really,
10
really not
years.
right.
Okay.
And then there was another one that went right around 2018 to 2021.
So like
Or
15, 20 years. Okay.
yeah, so it was checkpoints. Matter of fact, this is the crazy part.
Mm.
Man, I'm probably gonna miss your question, but bring that question back to me. But
That's okay. Go ahead.
I went to see Kanye West documentary 2 weeks ago, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was watching it. And I always told people, like my background was mental health. Like my first job after college, I worked at this place. It was the first mental health facility west of the Mississippi River. So all the extreme behaviors came there for help, right? So I'm used to dealing with depression, bipolar, schizophrenia.
Oh.
We had the criminally insane in there sometimes.
Oh.
And even we had, back then, I used to lobotomize people. And some of them people were still alive when I first started working.
Mm.
And so I've seen it all. So when Kanye West came out and he said he had he's bipolar, I always told people he's not bipolar. It might be schizophrenic, but I don't believe he's bipolar.
Mm.
But I always said that. So anyway, fast forward, I watched the documentary about 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. I'm looking at the red flags. I'm like, wait a minute. Kanye West, I did the math. Kanye West got diagnosed with bipolar when he was 40. Like, no way. That's not. Anybody who knows mental health knows you're going to get those two, schizophrenic or bipolar is going to get it between 18 and 21.
Mm.
By 21, you definitely going to have that diagnosis, but usually about 18 to 19 is going to kind of get you. How did he get his at 40? So I'm watching this documentary and I'm watching him act extreme, just off the cuff. He's just mad, he's angry, he's fussing, then he's straight. He's like, he lined up with my people, which is on the concussion side.
Mm.
And what you see, when you hear all these people who committed suicide or if they murdered somebody, their loved ones always say the same thing. Oh, he was such a nice guy, but all of a sudden he wasn't himself or he was acting out of character.
Mm.
I was watching Kanye do the same thing in his documentary and I'm thinking, he lines up with concussion people, but he's a rapper. He didn't have no concussion. Then I remember the song he had out. But he was talking about he had a car accident, broke his jaw. His jaw was in the back of his mouth, and he almost lost his contract, right? So I said he had a concussion. And then the bells just went off. In his documentary, he mentioned about the medicine he was taking to make him feel bad. I tried to take the medicine too when things got so bad. And I realized it made me worse. It made things worse. So that medicine is for a healthy brain. It's not for a compromised brain. It's not going to work. It's going to trigger some stuff. And so I listened to what he said and what he was not saying. And with this being my background, I'm thinking, oh my God, I know. I think Kanye West has been misdiagnosed. I believe this is his concussion stuff. Because first of all, nobody gets that diagnosis at 40. And so actually, when I came home that night, I plotted out my issues, the 10-year point where it kicked in at 2012. And I did the math, and I did the second part of the math. And then I looked, and I actually was able to predict the year he had his car accident based off of when he was diagnosed. Yeah, based off his diagnosis and everything that he had said, like his checkpoints. And I was like, it was 2000 or it had to be 2002. Went online and looked it up. Booyah, right there. And so this thing, it looks like so much other stuff. So most people, they get misdiagnosed or they're not getting diagnosed at all. Like for me, I've been seeing doctors for years. I thought mine was diabetes. It didn't make sense because I was a clean eater. I've always been a clean eater. So I'm thinking, but with me not being able to get up out of the bed, like every night before I went to bed, I put a thermos of coffee or a bottle of Coca-Cola or Mountain Dew on my nightstand. Otherwise, I'm not getting out to bed till 3 o'clock. And that was a pattern that I had. I had to do that. Otherwise, I was not.
You needed some caffeine in order to be able to take that in the morning to wake up. That was
absolutely every day.
Wow.
Every day. It was a pattern. And then once I drink that, then I could go to my book, figure out what day it is, what month we're in. And it's just a cycle. But I really think most people, they're not getting a diagnosis because like for me, the doctors, I've been seeing them for 10, 15 years and they will check in my blood, never check the brain, never.
Very interesting. And so then at what point did you perhaps talk to some of your other sled mates or other folks that were in your industry to say, you know what, I believe that this is causal. I believe that this is something that has been happening because of what had occurred while I was actually on the bobsled team. And I'm just curious if anybody had ever issued any warnings about any of those dangers and what the equipment was like. I'm just curious if there were any what were the safety precautions that were put in place?
There was no safety precautions. No safety precautions. The only ones that put in now is because I filed a class action lawsuit and I'm fortunate. Well, you know what I told the judge? I said, it's too late for me. It's too late for a lot of my teammates, but we can save that next generation. So, like, they're fighting. They don't want to warn the people. It's like, but I don't understand that. Like, I'm saying, you see what it's done to us. We've lost too many people to suicide. Like, we have to warn them on that next generation.
Yeah, I think I was just curious about whether or not you had spoken to any of your former teammates or anybody from the industry to put those links together and say, you know what, I believe that this is causal.
No, it's like everybody was kind of sweeping it under the rug from the legal standpoint. Like, nobody really wanted to talk about it. The athletes, they were kind of like me. Like, there was an article that was written called Sledhead, written by the New York Times by a gentleman, Matthew Furterman. Like, that article really diagnosed me. But the truth is, like, when I read it, I literally got on my knees and thank God all the symptoms missed me. And I sent it to my family. They circled some things and sent it back. And the first thing I saw was light sensitivity. And that's why my glasses were a little bit tinted, because now I'm sensitive to lights, smells, and sounds. So lights, I got to stay a little bit tinted. But yeah, and I told everybody the same thing. Take that article, share it with your loved ones, and then call me back after you've done that. And each time the loved ones was like, hey, wait a minute. And they went down that list like it's like clockwork. It's the same stuff over and over and over. It's just different variations of it. But most of the athletes were like me. Like, we didn't see it on ourselves. You can see it in other people. Like, that person's weird, or they're doing, you can't see it in yourself.
It's very hard to know what you're up to. You have to have somebody else tell you, you're not acting the same way.
Like, for me, I'll be honest. I try to put the truth out there. My girlfriend at the time, or my girlfriend now, she's from New York. Let's put it that way. And she has a loving family. They talk on the phone all day, every day. Hey, they're loud. That just was driving me crazy. So during COVID, I bought this lake house because the truth was I was preparing to go there to die. Like, I thought it was my time, because when I was walking, like, the ground in front of me was doing this all the time. Then I had the vertigo that kick in. I had the migraines. And you just, no quality of life. You can't get out of the bed, no energy. And so I bought this place. And I was living in Tarzana at the time, and I was getting lost in my own neighborhood. All I was doing was going up to, like, the Reseda Boulevard, make a left, and now I'm down at Gelson's. Like, I began to get lost in my own little neighborhood on a little 15-minute walk.
Yeah.
And so I bought this place. I said, okay, I'll be safe here. Worst case scenario, all I could do is walk to here to the lake. There's nothing else around here. I'm secluded. And so I bought that place. And so anyway, when my girlfriend was yapping on that phone, one day I just lost it. I was like, we might have to break up.
Oh, no.
I'm going back to the lake house. I need some peace. And when I got there, I was just relaxing. And that's when the Sledhead letter showed up. Now, that letter, it outlined what my teammates were going through before they committed suicide. And then the ones who were still here, like, some of them had Parkinson's and different ailments. And that's when I read the letter, was like, oh, God, everything missed me. So when I sent that letter to my girlfriend and she circled some stuff and sent it back, first thing I saw was the noise sensitivity. I was like, it's the whole reason I was over there in the first place.
Yeah.
Then I went down that list and I lost it, man. I was just, but like, I checked everything on that box except the Parkinson's. But the truth was, that letter came at the right time, because I'm sure I didn't have much time left. I was at the end.
So the author, the journalist who wrote that article, must have been informed by other sledders that this was happening, and it was attentive enough for him. It was interesting enough for him to say, this also needs to be known, because we are seeing it in boxers. We are seeing it in professional NFL players. There are class action lawsuits and settlements which are going back and determining that there was indeed negligence about the harms and the dangers of concussion and whatnot. And so they were able to settle. I think hockey players, the NHL also had a settlement. And a lot of them are recognizing that this is something that needs to be said. It needs to be warned to young children and to their parents about the potential risks and dangers of having these impact sports, sledding included, which a lot of people would never really think about. But yes, I think it's very important for us to know about, and to also recognize that there is so much more that we can do in medicine to be able to get even more clinical trials of certain treatments and we'll talk about one in particular in a moment, but certain treatments so that when a traumatic brain injury or a TES, traumatic encephalopathy syndrome diagnosis is made, then there can be a medical necessity for these types of treatments, and then it can be covered by insurance, because unfortunately there are a lot of unknowns and there are no FDA sanctioned treatments for things like CTE. And I did also want to just give a little bit of a tutorial on CTE, because that is definitely something that's been in the headlines a lot when it comes to, particularly with traumatic brain injury for athletes and veterans. But CTE, it stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy. This is a progressive brain condition that's linked to repeated head trauma, causing symptoms like memory loss, impaired judgment, mood changes, and aggression. Symptoms often can appear years or decades after the trauma, with diagnostic certainty only possible after a brain examination. And while not all head injuries lead to CTE, even subconcussive hits may be damaging and contribute to the disease's development. And so it is a progressive brain condition characterized by brain atrophy and specific abnormalities. And a lot of the issues are movement difficulties, poor muscle coordination, problems with memory, attention, planning, judgment, mood swings, depression, anxiety. And the unfortunate thing right now is that there is no definitive diagnosis that's available for CTE while a patient is alive. The CTE diagnosis happens post-mortem with a brain examination during an autopsy to identify that there is actually a tau protein that has been pretty much showcased inside brain tissue. And so there are a lot of researchers now, luckily, that are trying to get to a place where we can have brain images and some diagnoses during life. And I think that they are close to it, but right now there still is no definitive diagnosis. But I think that it's actually been diagnosed post-mortem in more than 90 former NFL players and in dozens of other athletes. There are some clinical criteria for traumatic encephalopathy syndrome, which is TES. And so what you can do is, if you do suspect that you have CTE, or if you meet criteria for TES, then you can be seen by a doctor and they will probably give you treatments for some of those symptoms. Like if you are feeling depressed, they might give you an antidepressant or have you go to therapy for cognitive behavioral treatments and things like that. But as far as specific treatments for the brain injury, those are not yet FDA approved. Now, when it comes to certain things that are being looked at for CTE, there are some unique alternative methods that are being looked at, such as supplements, light therapy, and one in particular that I know that you're very passionate about, which is HBOT, hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So, William, I would love for you to share your experience with HBOT. Essentially, tell us the story about how you learned about it, which I think is kind of interesting, and then what happened from there.
Well, before we get there, maybe I take one step back.
Sure.
I had one of my teammates was probably Jovanovic. He committed suicide, and I forgot what year it was, but he was one of the catalysts for this thing, because he would call me sometime. He wanted to be a writer. And when I first came to LA, I was optioning projects around and stuff.
Oh.
And so he called me. I would give him advice. And so what I used to think was just creative writing. It's only been like a few weeks ago that I realized that it wasn't creative writing. His mind was already slipping, because when he called me the very next time, he was speaking his gibberish, where I couldn't understand anything he said. He got so frustrated, he hung up the phone. And I told myself every day, I got to get this guy some help. I just kept saying it over and over to myself. Eventually, I get the word that he went to his family's factory, then he hung himself. For me, since mental health is my background, and I said I was going to help him, and I didn't. So I felt partially responsible for his death. Like I had that guilt on me. It was crippling to think about him.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and so two things happened. When they checked him, he was in stage 4 of CTE. So now all this stuff that we're talking about has a name. Like I'm looking at all the diagnosis. Everybody who's struggling, it all lines up with what he has. And so that's kind of how I got where I was. And but the other part of that is like, for me, like when I felt so guilty, the only thing that I finally got some relief from that once was when I know he was in stage 4. I couldn't do anything to help him in stage 4. That's number one. And number two, like I was literally crawling around my own apartment at the time. I couldn't help him because I needed help. I had already taken my bed mattress off the frame and put it in my living room. And it was the shortest point between the kitchen and the bathroom. So I can, if I needed to, I can crawl. And that's how I was living. And so here I am trying to help somebody else. And like, no, but you can't help anybody. Like, you got to get help yourself. That's where I was at. Like, I was at the lowest point of, like, I was just praying for death every day. Like, please, Lord, it's just not another day like this. And because I was a counselor, like, I couldn't kill myself because I saw what that does to families. And I don't want to leave my family with that burden. And so I was like, God, okay, it's me and you. I'm going to have to ride this one out. But
thank goodness for your experience that way. Yeah. Because
I should teach all my clients this one thing. Like, and it was like on cruise control for me. Like, I'll tell them, like, if suicide is a good idea today, it'll be a good idea tomorrow. And so then I get to tomorrow, it's same stuff going on. I say, okay, I really want out. But if it's a good idea today, it'll be a great idea tomorrow. So it always bought me another day. And that's how I made it through that. Wow. So when I finally got a chance to do some research where I could comprehend, because remember, I'm struggling with reading, writing, math at this point. I found a video with Joe Namath, and he said he used hyperbaric oxygen to reverse his symptoms. And I was like, I have what? Like, I couldn't find anything else. Why were the doctors talking about this? Like, and so I went and tried it. And the craziest thing happened. I was in this chamber for 1 hour. A company down in Orange County let me do it for free. No big deal. Go in there. When I come out that chamber, my glasses were slightly tinted just because of the lights. So I went to grab these to put them on and took them off, put them on, took them off a few times. And he looks at me and he's like, what's wrong? I was like, I don't know. Everything's kind of like in 3D. Colors are bright. But I don't need my glasses right now. And he's like, oh, you one of those guys. Well, he said one of those. And I was like, okay, here comes the salesman. He's finna try to sell me this $25,000 machine. I just bought a house. I can't afford a machine like this. But he was right. Some people get immediate relief, and some people get they need 2 sessions a day for 30 days to get that relief. For me, it was immediately. So my cloudiness that was there was gone for 6 days. I went back to into the following week. It took my cloudiness away for 9 days. So I'm thinking, oh my God, it wasn't a placebo. It ain't psychosomatic. This thing is helping me. It's real. The problem now came in. It's like, how do you buy a machine like this? Because if not, it's $200 an hour getting that machine. And if I need to do 30 sessions, 30 sessions in a month, like, man, I can't afford to do that. So anyway, by the time I got a chance to get my own machine, I was already so cloudy again. I was back where I started. It was like I never had a treatment before. But when the machine showed up and I put together, got in it, I slowly just came back. Yeah, it's just changed my life now. So now, I can talk. 2 years ago, we couldn't have this conversation.
Really?
Yeah. And I got some videos I have a TikTok channel just dedicated toward living with CTE symptoms and how to get around it. I went back to find a place last month that I want to rent out so I can open up this complimentary, CTE wellness center. And I was gone for more than 30 days. So on my way back, I was suffering. I couldn't hardly get the words out. It's like there's a screen inside my forehead. I could see the words. And sometimes I can read them off, or sometimes I just can't get them out. It's brutal. When you get that way, it's brutal. And and that's why I think a lot of these guys are they're taking their lives, because when you get there,
so bad,
you can't communicate with people. You can't if I'm around my friends, if they ask me a question, I can answer it, but I'm not going to volunteer any information because I just don't have the ability. And so that's what they're dealing with. Yeah. And then the other part of that is I put out a video. Do you see that guy who went to the NFL office and he tried to shoot the NFL office up about a month ago? He left a suicide note. Yeah.
I did hear about that. Yeah.
Yeah, he left a suicide note. He said he knows he has CTE. So he goes up there, he does a mass shooting, right? And they check his brain. And it came back last week. He was right. He had it. On that day, I made a video for social media. And I was like, guys, I know we see our athletes doing this stuff. I said, but that's not the ones we should be as concerned about. I said, it's the military guys who come back with the same thing. Because what it does, my brain was always telling me, it's time to die. It's time to go. Suicide. It's on a loop. It's like nonstop. And so imagine it's a beautiful day outside. I go outside and it's just beautiful. Then your brain is telling, oh, it's a good day to die because it's so beautiful out here. So you're stuck in this loop. It's a constant and so that's why these guys are killing themselves or killing someone else. When you get fixated on that part, if you allow it to take over you, you're going to do it. So our military guys, remember, they're the best trained soldiers in the world. So if they're already in that killing mode and their brain tells them to kill, Yeah. And so in that video, I said, guys, we need to get ahead of this because there's going to be a wave. You can quote me. I said, there's going to be a wave of military killings coming. And then I mentioned it to the judge the next day, at court the next day. And on the court steps, I said it again. So people heard it. It's on video, and I said it to people live. So 3 days later, military guy goes into a bar in Montana. He does a mass shooting, kills 4 people. Now he's hiding in the woods. The following week, another guy goes on an Army base, one of the military bases, I'm not sure what branch. He kills some of his people. Now, last Sunday, a guy went into the church, shot the church up. Yeah. He was a veteran as well. He shot up the church and he burned the other part, so they were still trying to recover bodies because people were missing. So it's like something we got to get ahead of this.
Address.
Yeah. And then for me, I found out the military has the same issues, the same treatment. Before I started this thing, it was about helping my teammates. And I was like, no, we got to get to this other population too. Yeah.
Well, thank you for bringing visibility, awareness, and concern for anybody who's suffering from these kinds of brain injuries. Hit subscribe right now for more stories and inspiring conversations with me, Jennifer Norman, the host of the Human Beauty Movement podcast. I did want to take a moment to help educate everybody about HBOT, since that is something that has helped you. And I'm going to put the link to another interview that I have just recently done with Dr. Jason Saunders, who is the founder of HBOT USA. Really, really smart guy and knows just about everything that there is about HBOT. And it's interesting because it does show promise for treating symptoms and signs of chronic traumatic encephalopathy. And it does so by helping to increase oxygen to the injured brain tissue. So it'll help to reduce inflammation and promote healing. Unfortunately, right now, it is still considered an orphan therapy in mainstream medicine, but there are a lot of strong suggestions and some emerging evidence suggesting that it can improve cognitive function and reduce symptoms like headaches and enhance neuroplasticity in people who are suffering with TBI and symptoms consistent with CTE. William, can you describe, after you started using it and you said after the very first session, 1 hour, you started to feel a little bit of relief or something changed. How long have you been using it, and how long was it until you actually got your own chamber? And how long, what kind of protocol do you use now in order to maintain yourself?
Well, my question, do you want the PG version or do you want the raw truth? I don't know what
I want raw truth. This is marked explicit. Go for it.
Okay. The first night when I took the hyperbaric, right, like I said, I could see things. Everything was beautiful again. I came home, I laid on the couch. I fell asleep. I woke up it was about 7 o'clock when I fell asleep. I woke up at about 9 o'clock and I had one of the worst migraines. I always have migraines. You never know when they come in, but when they show up, they're just brutal. Ever since my first crash, I've been having them. So I just know what to do. Just don't do nothing. Put your feet up, find the dark. And so here I am. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, oh my God, I messed up. This hyperbaric oxygen is probably destroyed me. Oh. And that's what I was thinking. Because this is where it gets a little raw. When I woke up and I had that migraine, I had an erection. Those are two things that don't go together. So I was like, okay, what is it? Why? I said, nobody's ever said I got a migraine, let's go make love. That don't work like that. And I didn't know. And so I went and climbed in bed. It's about midnight. And I woke up in the morning and the headache had gone down. Erection was still there. And so I'm thinking, okay, it's doing something. It has done something. And
blood flow.
Yeah, man. I was like, yeah. And so for the next few hours, it was just everything was easing up. And by the next day, my cloudiness was gone. I'm thinking, what? I don't recognize this place. This is, I'm seeing colors and I'm seeing.
Wow.
I'm just recognizing things I've driven past and walked past for years that I don't remember being there, And yeah, the second day I went back, same thing, 9. This time, no migraine, no erection or anything, but 9 days of clarity. And so when I wound up placing the order for the machine, it took about a month or 2 to come out. It took a while. So by the time it showed up, I was already back where I started at. But for once and forever, I had hope. I knew what this machine was going to do when it showed up.
So you went once and then you decided that you wanted to buy it, or did you have multiple sessions?
No.
You had 2 sessions and then you decided that it was for you. Oh, wow.
Well, the first session, it cleared my cloudiness for 6 days. I went back the second time and tried it. It cleared it for 9 days. So now, man, this thing is what they call the bee's knees. It was working. I was not going to go without that. But the problem was that I ran into, now I got to come up with $25,000 to buy this machine. Right. I just bought this house, this lake house I bought And so I don't have it sitting around anymore. And so my family, my dad was like, I'll just give you the money. I'm just like, nope. I said, I'll move some money around. Eventually I'll do it. By the time, I don't know how much time went by, but I didn't do it when I should have done it. Next thing you know, I was back in the darkness again. And then my dad, my girlfriend had been talking to my dad, and I woke up one day and checked my account. It was $20,000 extra in there. And my dad was like, go get the machine, And so, yeah, I got the machine, but it took 2 months to get here. And by the time I got here, like I was back laying on the floor again. I was out of it. And, but no, it really, like I said, 2 years ago, we couldn't have this conversation. Oh, also, if you look at my old pictures, I don't have hair. I was always bald. I always buzzed my hair. I didn't think my hair would still grow. But I don't know if the machine did it or what. But now,
look at your locks.
Yeah, so I do this
people go just for that.
Yeah, there's people actually online on my social media. They try to insult me. They're like, "Is he wearing a wig?" And the biggest compliment I ever got in my life. I'm like, "Yeah, just keep insulting the wig." Yeah. Well, yeah, that thing has just changed my life. Like, I tell people all the time, like, I don't sell them. I don't have a deal with anybody. I don't have an endorsement deal. I'm not. And I tell everybody, I said, try it before you buy one. Don't go spend that money. Try one first.
Yeah. I mean, I know that Dr. Jason Saunders said, if everybody knew what I knew about HBOT, there would be HBOT stores on every street corner. They're just absolutely incredible. And they just need to continue to do more refinements and more research to help to understand what the right pressures and the timings and all of those things, because there are some nuances that go along with high pressure versus low pressure, et cetera. Yeah. But he's doing such incredible work around that, and so are others. So tell us what your sessions are like now that you have your own machine. Are you in it every day, multiple times a day, or a couple times a week? What do you do?
Well, starting out, I was gung-ho. Yeah, I'm in there 5 days a week. Like, but I promise you, like, after a while, it became a chore. It's like anything else. Like, sometimes you just don't want to do it, And I found myself having longer breaks in it. But normally for me, as long as I do at least 2 or 3 sessions a week, that's all.
And how long are you doing it for?
Usually I do 90 minutes.
90 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. Every now and then I'll do 30 or 45, but usually it's 90. I do 90.
And you have it there at your place?
I don't have a choice, man. Like, for me, most people, when they were getting this permanent relief, like, I don't. Like, if I go 30 days without it, like, or maybe a little bit shorter, like, I'll start to feel the effects of it.
So your hope is that you will be able to get people who are suffering to have free treatments, particularly athletes as well as military, as you said. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it has to be for free. Otherwise, they will not show up. The dollar amount on this stuff is too expensive. It's too expensive. And people just, if you get, like, for me, when I used to run facilities, I had great insurance. But now they're like, I don't do that work anymore. I can't. Like, right. I have the worst of the worst insurance.
Yeah.
So almost like they're not going to cover anything. So So even if Hyperbaric was something that insurance will pay for, I guarantee you mine would not. So yeah, but it's one of them things, like, once you see what's going on and you see the recovery and you feel it, like, there hasn't been a person who's tried it that I've told about it who hasn't come back like, oh my God, my loved one is better now. Like, oh my God, thank you.
Well, William, I am so glad that you found relief, that you have gotten into such an incredible recovery, and that you're spreading your experience, word of your experience, to help share all that has happened to you with such great vulnerability. I know that you said, like, before, you were so embarrassed to even talk about this. I know a lot of people are still embarrassed to talk about mental health issues, trauma, things that have happened to them. But you know what? This is part of life, and we're okay with that. We're okay with being there for each other, because we all go through this sometimes, some more than others for sure. But folks like William are here to say, you know what? You're not alone. I care about you. I want you to know about this. I want you to be informed before you start any kinds of sporting events or any kinds of sports that are going to be potentially dangerous for you. Just go in with your eyes open. And then to the industry, let's continue rallying and advocating for treatments, cures, research, clinical trials, all of these things that can help those that are currently suffering, because, a lot of lives can be saved.
Absolutely.
Well, William, I want to thank you so much for being my guest today. This was such a great conversation. I really learned so very much. And I really think that you're a special individual. I really appreciate all the work that you're doing.
Thank you. I just hope that, maybe your people please find our crowdfunding. We're providing free complimentary, guys, complimentary. I'm not trying to collect a salary or anything like that. We just want to get the equipment. I'm providing the building. We got to build it out and offer free service to help everybody so they can get the relief that I got. I'm going to put them through the same thing that I'm doing until we find better, and it's so far, everybody I've sent through it come back with the same thing, it's simple and it's quick. And it's not like you're going to spend your 6 months in treatment. No, it's none of that. And this doesn't make sense. So you go in there, take a nap, and you wake up or watch a movie in there, and you come out and you get your life back.
Amazing.
Yeah, I haven't seen it not work for anybody. I'm the only one I know that doesn't get the permanent one so far, but also have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of concussions from the sport. So I'm the worst case scenario. If I can make it out, everybody should be able to make it out.
There is hope.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Human Beauty Movement podcast. Be sure to follow, rate, and review us wherever you stream podcasts. The Human Beauty Movement is a community-based platform that cultivates the beauty of humankind. Check out our workshops, find us on social media, and share our inspiration with all the beautiful humans in your life. Learn more at thehumanbeautymovement.com. Thank you so much for being a beautiful human.